I have finished the main story of Digimon Story Time Stranger, and I'm feeling a little fragile emotionally right now. That was one of my favourite video game experiences ever, I think. I'm still a good while away from wanting to drop hard spoilers, because not everyone has had a whole week straight of completely free time, specifically planned out to play through the game like I did. I do want to make a big video on this game at some point down the line, but we'll give more time for people to play through the game first. Plus, I still have a bunch of side missions to complete, and some other extra stuff I didn't really dabble with that much, because I was so locked in with the story. Right now, I kinda just want to ramble out some general feelings upon reaching the end credits of this game. And again, I'll try and keep the game footage I'm overlaying here as generic as possible. Digimon Story Time Stranger is the grandest Digimon game that has ever been released. Whether it's your favourite, that's still subjective. I know a lot of people will have other games that they have more vivid and memorable experiences with. I'm kinda like that with a lot of game series myself. But this title really is a level above. I expected it to be a decently enhanced experience compared to Cyber Sleuth and Hacker's Memory, but it has gone way beyond that, and blown previous games out of the water in every area, I want to say. You'd probably argue that it should blow the Cyber Sleuth games away. They were PS Vita games originally, but even putting things like the graphics, the UI, the cutscenes, all that stuff to one side, the writing and the general delivery of the story is just something else. I felt so much playing through this game. The story really sucked me in. The characters made a much bigger impression on me than I thought they would, especially Aegiomon and Inori. I was genuinely close to tears at times with some of the twists and turns in their arcs. And can I just say, Waymon is my goat. Just such a funny Digimon in this game. I'm glad that I did play through Cyber Sleuth and Hacker's Memory before playing Time Stranger, because I think if I played this game first, and then gone back to check out the other story games, I'd probably be a little frustrated by them, or find them even more tedious than I did anyway when I played them earlier on. Time Stranger definitely built upon the basic framework of those games. You can see the skeleton of them in here. It's just everything is fleshed out and optimized so much more. The great thing is though, you don't have to have played the other Digimon games to jump into Time Stranger. You can be a total newcomer and have a great time with the game. Story and lore wise, there will be certain small things that crop up that probably might seem random or confusing. For example, and again without going into spoiler territory, if you're completely new and you're kinda wondering what the deal is with these three characters, don't worry about it. Just have a quick Google after the game's finished. There is stuff in here from the wider lore of Digimon. There was always bound to be, which I'm still catching up with myself. But it seems like the developers have made a point of not making any of it central to the story. So you can just sort of let it float by for now, and learn the full context of it in your own time. I think the narrative structure is much more streamlined than the earlier story games. I felt like each mission, however big or small, was pushing me a little further forwards in that main narrative. I remember in the Cyber Sleuth titles there was a fair bit of meandering, with some compulsory missions that really didn't have much to do with the main narrative, before the story would then suddenly jump forwards. The way Time Stranger does it actually makes me want to play for longer at a time. Each mission finishes leaving with a question in your mind that can only be answered by playing the next one. It's a Moorish game, and there's more of a cohesive, linear feel to it than Cyber Sleuth's detective cases system. I have to give another mention to the world in this game as well because it is stunning. The locations are all so lively and fleshed out. I went back into the game after the credits rolled just to have a little run around some of these areas again, without it being for a particular mission, so I could really pay attention to all the finer details. And there's just so much care and attention that's clearly gone into the development of this world. The real world maps are teeming with activity. Everything's so detailed and colourful. I like video game worlds that make me feel like I'm not the centre of it. Like I'm just one character within everything else that's going on. And I absolutely got that feeling here. The digital world is beautiful in all its different areas, which serve as different biomes. Each one has its own very strong, very unique vibe to it. Central Town is a real highlight for me. The thing that makes this look so impressive for me is the sheer amount of Digimon here. So I'm really sorry, this might break the illusion for a lot of people, but it actually made me appreciate it for how smart it was. All the Digimon here are looping around the same little 3 to 4 second animations over and over again, but there are so many different Digimon packed in here, performing so many different 3 to 4 second animations that as you're running through the town, you don't notice it at all. It simply looks like a living, breathing settlement. So yeah, just don't stop walking at any point and you're golden. This game strengthens a general preference I've always had for linear world games over open world games. Open worlds tend to contain a lot of emptiness for the privilege of being able to see everything from every angle, while linear worlds can just focus on packing as much life and detail into the areas and environments you can access. Open world really only works for me when it is a colossal production like the Grand Theft Auto games. Otherwise, this right here is perfect. I feel encased in this active and well-filled space. Mechanically, there's a lot of stuff that's been, I don't want to say simplified as such, but made more convenient. Quality of life is the word I'm looking for there. Like converting new Digimon can now be done via the main menu, instead of having to go to the Digilab all the time. Digivolution can be achieved much quicker thanks to agent skills and ranks, and that can also be done via the main menu. So all the quality of life stuff like that. And that's also a reason why I say that I'm glad that I did manage to get playthroughs of Cyber Sleuth and Hacker's Memory in before playing Time Stranger. Because going back now would probably frustrate me if I didn't already know to expect those things. Is there anything I'd criticize about Time Stranger off the bat? Because I feel like I've done a lot of glazing so far. I guess the agent skills could have been a little more visually friendly. I think looking at this is pretty intimidating, and it makes them look a fair bit more complicated than they actually are. I think maybe, could they have just been set out in rows instead of a web spiraling out in different directions? Would that possibly work? That's a pretty small thing though. Like I said, it's not that complicated. You get used to it quite quickly. Just kind of unnerving to look at first. The voice acting is amazing in this game, but also a bit on and off. Like for side missions, fair enough. They don't need voice acting. That's all good. But there are decent sections of some main missions that suddenly go from being voice acted to, in the very next scene, not voice acted. Just a strange decision, because I feel like literally an extra day or two of voice recording could have filled those gaps. And also, our own character doesn't speak, which you do see in a lot of games, but there is a voice in there. They have been voice acted. The operator character, which is just the opposite gender character to the one you've chosen, does have a voice. So why is it not used for the main character? I don't know, that could all come down to a budgeting thing, or maybe they were creative decisions to put emphasis on certain parts over others. Just struck me as a bit bizarre as I was playing through the game. I have a feeling this is going to be a new starting point for people with Digimon. I think we're going to have a lot of people in a few years' time saying that Time Stranger was their first Digimon game, or the re-entry game for older fans who fell away from the franchise after that initial boom around the early 2000s. If not for the last 3 or 4 months, that would have been the case for me. We're in the big hype phase right now as of recording this video. The game is fresh out on the shelves, the Steam charts have been going nuts, Digimon is so back, it's hit probably its biggest peak since the early 2000s. So it's going to be interesting to see where we go after all this initial hype has settled down. Because as more and more people finish the game, those active player numbers will obviously plummet. We are also getting the first batch of Digimon Beat Break episodes right now, with another Digimon game, albeit a mobile one, on the horizon as well. So the general Digimon momentum will carry on pushing forwards. I'm just hoping that we don't have this huge surge in interest in Digimon with Time Stranger, only for it to fizzle out once everyone's completed it and moves on to the next thing. This is the thing, as great as this game was, it is competing with some real big hitters that have been released this year. It's probably the only reason why it probably won't crack a lot of top 5 Game of the Year contenders for 2025. So I hope there's something that can keep this game in the forefront of people's minds for a while. With the incredible sales figures from this title, could a form of DLC potentially be on the cards for next year sometime? Maybe like a smaller scale Hacker's Memory, where a new narrative takes place in the same world? Maybe it could add in some of the Digimon that didn't quite make the cut in Time Stranger. It wouldn't surprise me if that was a conversation that was being considered, because this game appears to have smashed everyone's expectations when it comes to units sold. And I think there definitely is a lot of scope to expand on this world a bit more. So yeah, that's all I really want to say for now. I'm kind of just doing these little check-in videos at the moment, as I have little bits and pieces to say about the game, without going into explicit spoilers just yet. As I said, those more comprehensive reviews will come later down the line. For now, feel free to let us know in the comments how your playthrough is going, if you've completed it yet, if you're still waiting to pick the game up, or sitting on the fence of whether to pick it up. Drop all your thoughts down below. While you're down there, if you could drop a quick like on the video, that'd be awesome. Subscribe for more Digimon videos. Take it easy, guys. I'll catch you in the next one.